Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cult of the Sacred Runes, English audio reading from No Gym Needed. This is Chapter 11. If it was a cheaper quencher pill, like Bone Strengthener, Yewei could have accepted it easily, but the Fiery Sun Quencher was way too valuable. One pill cost 500 silver, and the bottle Zian passed to Yewei contained 10 pills. Yeah, that's 5,000 silver worth of Fiery Sun Quencher pills. One might not know how much 5,000 silver is. Well, the Ye family was not a small family in Green Moon City, yet Yewei's monthly allowance was 20 silver, and around 30 silver is enough to feed a family well for a month. Lin Zian was very wealthy. Yewei knew Zian wasn't an ordinary girl, but he never anticipated her to be this wealthy. Accept it as a reward for what you've done for me. Afraid she was going to hurt Yewei's pride with such a big gift, Zian tried to make it easier for him, saying it was a reward. Yewei paused and thought about it. I'll take one then. You are my brother now, and you're not going to take what your sister is giving you? Do you despise me? Okay then. Yewei nodded and took Zian's gift. His heart was filled with gratitude, as these Fiery Sun Quencher pills are exactly what he needs right now. Good. Zian stopped her tough act and smiled as she pulled Yewei on his shoulders and said, "Let's go." For unknown reasons, for Zian, there's something making her gravitate toward Yewei. The distance between them had shortened within the span of a few hours. If you have any problems, you can come directly to me with them. You know where I live at Green Phoenix Hall now. I'll head toward Master Yi now. Zian said her farewell with a big smile on her face as they reached a crossroad. Okay, Yewei nodded. Lin Zian's graceful figure slowly became smaller and eventually disappeared along the side path. Thank you so much for the Fiery Sun Quencher pills. I, Yewei, will remember this favor. Yewei held the jade bottle tightly, mumbling to himself. He was very quiet, but at the same time, hard as metal. He was determined to make something happen with these pills. The last beam of sunlight faded as evening progressed into nighttime as Yewei returned to his dorm. South Star Academy is the cradle of future fighters, and they even provide dorm rooms for the worst students. His room was very minimalistic. There was a bland wooden table in the middle of the room, and against the wall was a plank of wood on legs he called a bed. Sadly, there was not even a chair in the room. The door let out a loud squeak when Yewei closed it tightly. He then took off his shoes and sat on the bed in a lotus position with his back against the wall. With these Fiery Sun Quencher pills, I should be able to break through to 2 stars soon. Yewei took out the bottle of Quencher pills. He was a bit nervous and breathed a bit quicker than usual. Nearly all of the students who were admitted the same time as Yewei 3 years ago made decent progress and are now in the intermediate class. And even a few talented ones are in the senior class. I am very far behind right now, but once I get to the 7-star level, I'll be able to catch up in no time. Yewei fiercely shook his fists, feeling confident with his game plan. Yewei opened the jade bottle and poured out one pill. He sat still and saw what 500 silver looked like. Then he took a deep breath and swallowed the pill. The pill immediately melted upon touching Yewei's tongue. A scorching wave of energy flowed through his body, turning his skin bright red all over. He looked almost like a piece of glowing coal. Yewei's skin and muscles were drenched with the surge of energy as it tempered his skin and muscles and strengthened his body. He was visibly getting bigger. He sat there absorbing the vast amount of energy from the pill. A whole 10 hours passed and the sky was brightening up, starting to turn red and getting ready for a new day. It wasn't until then that Yewei had absorbed everything from the pill. That was strong. I got more from this one pill than I did from at least 3 months worth of training. Still sitting in a lotus position on the plank of wood, Yewei opened his eyes, leisurely looking slightly childish, as he couldn't hide the joy and satisfaction from his result. With this speed, I will break through in no time. Yewei made fists with both hands as he felt his strength and energy surging. His lips curled up and displayed great satisfaction. Being 1-star ranked for 3 years was not glorifying, but it did give Yewei a good foundation to develop on. Now that he took one of the best quenching pills, it's very possible that he could break through in a matter of days. Furthermore, Yewei was surprised as he discovered how his physique had changed a bit after his dream yesterday during the lecture. I will break through before returning home. That ought to surprise my parents. Yewei's astounding dark eyes shone bright in the early dawn light. The Yewei of the past could never dare to imagine his training could go this fast. But with the recent changes to his body and the acquisition of the Fiery Sun Quencher pills, Yewei knew he stood a fighting chance of improving rapidly. 2 stars was nothing, but to break through with Yewei's red sentient, now that was not a simple task at all. Without strength, nobody will notice nor respect me. One day, I will become a great, fearsome warrior. Remembering the mockery he got from Zhou Yin and her friends, Yewei held his fist tight, his veins bulging. There are many factors that determine how strong a warrior is. Their foundation is based on cultivation and stance performance. But putting aside stance performance, as it is a non-factor before 7 stars, the greater one's cultivation is, the more primal energy and ki one has to use. Also, how fast one can cultivate is determined by sentient and formula usage. The sentient spectrum is divided like this: red, orange, yellow, green, lime, blue, and violet, with red being the weakest and violet being the strongest. The stronger one's sentient is, the quicker they are able to absorb primal energy from their natural surroundings. Whereas formulas purify and convert the primal energy we absorb into a storable form, like a transformer, primal energy is a violent energy, and if it is not purified and converted, it will do more harm than benefit to the body. Like stances, formulas are also divided in 5 ranks: spirit, mist, earth, sky, and heaven, with the low, mid, and high 3 levels per rank. To fill his body to the brim with primal energy, Yewei's red sentient needs to work non-stop for around a day, when the norm is usually around 6 to 10 hours. Though Yewei's formula is not shabby, the mid-mist level falling star form was passed down in the Ye family through generations, and it does a good job purifying primal energy at a reasonable speed. The only thing that was holding Yewei back was his sentient. The distance between Yewei and other students his age just became greater over time, as his rate of cultivating was much slower than others. Without resources and enough ki to support his training, his body simply could not keep up. Chapter 12. These next 3 days, I am not going to lectures. I'm going to lock myself up and focus on training. Yewei got up and did his stretching routine after getting off his bed. Then he started training after washing up. Time to use the falling star formula. Moments later, Yewei returned to his sitting on the bed as he crossed his legs into a lotus position. He closed his eyes and adjusted the speed of his breathing, distancing himself from the world, and slowly entered a Zen state. Yewei's hands formed a complex hand seal in front of his chest. With the formula operating, his will force slowly formed a vortex with the epicenter in between his eyebrows. As the suction drew in thin threads of primal energy from every direction, the primal energy got stuck onto the will force and then was stored in Yewei's Dantian. Now, the energy was ready to be purified by the falling star form. An entire day passed and Yewei's Dantian was finally fully saturated, the speed of his absorption being outrageously slow. Yewei opened his eyes wide when the last bit of space in his Dantian was filled. One could see a glimmer of silver deep inside Yewei's eyes as he formed the 36 different hand seals. The raging primal energy finally started to be tamed and purified. Suddenly, Yewei heard a noise inside his head. It came out of nowhere, while Yewei was purifying primal energy with the falling star form. The loud cracking noise resembled thunder rumbling. He also saw an image of a towering mountain. The mountain covered in hundreds of thousands of mystic runes, the runes seeming to have a life of their own, crawling on the mountain's surface. Out of nowhere appeared a spectral being, revealing itself on the mountain. His translucent figure allowed the spectral being's meridian network, a beautiful web of green and red, to be visible. Yewei was stunned by the fact that the mountain revisited him, but something else caught his attention. The being was sitting down, in a lotus position, seemingly in the process of purifying primal energy with a formula, and his green and red meridian network was vibrating slightly. Yewei could clearly see the energy, silver in color, circling the network. Is this falling star form? Yewei recognized the route of primal energy circulation, and it was very similar to the falling star form he was using at the moment. But the spectral being's version was far more complex. The Ye family's falling star form utilized 36 meridians, while this unknown being's silver energy was circulating through 108 meridians, forming a perfect cycle. All the energy stored in its Danxian was purified within only one cycle. In contrast, Yewei's falling star form takes at least 9 cycles to purify a full Danxian. The silver energy passed through more meridians inside the spectral being system, and it was passing through with twice the speed compared to Yewei's form. Our Ye family has always used the mid-mist level falling star form, and its speed is way slower than this spectral being's form, though they are similar. Is he using a high mist level formula? Deep in thought, Yewei was startled by this revelation. Being a Ye, who is used to the falling star form, he knows exactly what a high mist level formula could help him achieve. A high mist level formula can purify the same amount of primal energy 3 times as quick as a mid-mist level formula. Putting Yewei's horrendous energy absorption speed into account, if the purification process is sped up 3 times, training should be twice as efficient. To be twice as efficient. Yewei's cousin, Ye Zong, is a 22-year-old 4-star warrior. With Zong's talent, he will need 2 or 3 years of non-stop training in order to break through. But with the spectral being's falling star form, he would only need a bit more than a year to become a 5-star warrior. A 23-year-old 5-star warrior is quite a feat, and that would make him one of the strongest young talents in Green Moon City. Moreover, there are no more than 5 families in all of Green Moon City that have a high mist level formula. Say the Ye family started utilizing this version of the falling star form, then his family status would be on a totally different level. The spectral being circulated his energy 3 times around his meridians. Yewei watched and memorized every hand seal used and the circulation route. The information was accurately imprinted onto his mind. Still sitting in a lotus position on his bed, Yewei's head buzzed and his body shook as he instantaneously opened his eyes. Zoom! Yewei's hands made seal after seal, and it took him no time to form the 108 seals. He accomplished it so fast that only a blurry after image was visible. The primal energy flowed swiftly from his Danxian to the rest of his body, through the 108 meridians at an incredible speed. 2 hours. In just 2 hours, a Danxian full of raging energy was converted to pure and usable primal energy. Ki. And the purification process was working at twice the speed of before, after adopting the new formula. The legend must be true. There once was a supreme within the Ye's bloodline, and the falling star form that was passed down from him was obviously incomplete. It makes sense now that I have seen this version of the falling star form. Well, I'm still not sure if the Supreme was real, but at least the formula bit of the story is true. So, a spectral being who resides on a mountain in my consciousness showed me the perfect falling star form, and basically gave our family a high mist level formula. Yewei's eyes were shining as he was surprised by the experience, and overjoyed. His facial expression twisted a bit from being overwhelmed by all the emotions, but it was obvious he was very happy. Improving the falling star form means the world to Yewei and the Ye family. Inhale. Exhale. It took quite a bit of time and many deep breaths before Yewei's emotions subsided and he regained his calmness. My body is as strong as a 1-star student's can get, and tomorrow I should be able to break through to 2 stars without the aid of these fiery sun quencher pills. Yewei started his training again after mumbling to himself. In the morning of his 3rd day of training, as the sun was glaring intensely, a few drops of the golden sunshine landed on Yewei's slightly childish face. He opened his eyes slowly and made a fist. Boom! He threw a punch to the air fiercely. The sound of wind breaking around his fist was sharp and loud. Yewei was more than satisfied, and he was surprised by the immense strength behind the punch. So this is what it feels like being a 2-star student? The corners of Yewei's eyes were slightly wet. It had been 3 whole years since he started at South Star Academy, and this moment marked the end of an era. The era of Yewei, the 1-star student who was stuck at the 1-star level for 3 years. All the good news aside, the changes in one's body condition was not exactly significant until a student reaches 5 stars. When a student reaches 5 stars, their skin and muscles will become hard as iron, which drastically improves their speed and strength by 10-fold. Dad, Mom, I broke through. Your child is a 2-star student. Yewei looked towards the direction of his home as his tears slowly left a warm, reflective trail on his face. No one can really empathize with Yewei, as the 3 years of struggle was a very personal experience for him. I need to go home. Yewei could not wait to bring home the good news to his parents and his cousin Yezong, who took care of him since before he could remember. He had skipped his lectures for 2 days already. What would 1 more day matter? He packed light and hid the jade bottle of fiery sun quenchers in a secret pocket in front of his chest. He closed the door behind him as he left his room and headed towards the school gate. It was early in the morning, and the students were already in the classroom, and nobody was wandering around on the campus, even though most tutors in South Star Academy were not very strict. Facing the sun, Yewei walked out of the school gate on his way home. Chapter 13. Alright guys, it's about to start heating up. South Star Academy was located in the northeastern corner of Green Moon City, whereas the Ye family manor was positioned in the southwestern corner. They are pretty much on the opposite side of town. Although Yewei is now a 2-star student with enhanced strength and speed compared to ordinary folk, it would still take him around 10 hours for him to get to the family manor on foot. In Green Moon City, the 3 most popular means of transport were as follow: ordinary horse carriages. For a more expensive option, one could use the beast carriages, and the most prestigious way to travel would be by runicles. A normal horse carriage cost around 1 to 3,000 silver. Beast carriages, they cost around 30 to 50,000 silver. But runicles are a bit special because you can't pay for their service. Runicles are not pulled by horses or beasts. They are vehicles forged by rare metals, which were then engraved by rune masters. The runes engraved onto the runicle draws primal energy from the sky and the earth, which powers it. Not only are runicles speedy, they also ride extremely stable, and runicle owners in Green Moon City could be counted with one hand. The Ye family's chosen means of transport is a green-maned unicorn carriage, worth 40,000 silver. Green-maned unicorns are a hybrid species. They are a crossbred between unicorns and green-maned horses. In green-maned unicorns, the green-maned horse's genes in the hybrid hinders the unicorn beast's violent nature, while its endurance and strength are retained. It was an entry-level beast for a carriage. Yewei walked down the road with only himself for company. The scorching sun shone down sunlight and caused droplets of sweat to appear on his face. From time to time, there were horse and beast carriages passing by, and then he saw a runicle, which pedestrians and carriages gave way to. One day, I'll ride in a runicle, Yewei whispered, slightly envious. Of course, it was just a daydream now, as Yewei has not even traveled in the family beast carriage, let alone him being able to ride in a runicle. It was a balmy summer day, the temperature abnormally high, and sadly, with Yewei's 2-star cultivation, he couldn't even expel the heat out of his body with ki. All he could do was grind his teeth and tolerate it. But thinking about seeing his family again put a smile on his childish face and made the hot conditions just a bit more tolerable. By the time the sun started setting in the west, Yue had covered more than half of his journey. Meanwhile, back at South Star Academy, the school bell rang loud and clear. It was the end of the school day and the midterm, and South Star Academy students get a 7-day break every 3 months. As the bell rang, South Star Academy went from peaceful to hectic in an instant. Junior, intermediate, senior, and the one and only class of the gifted all came alive as students left the classrooms quickly, heading out one after another to enjoy their break. In the Junior 3 classroom, where the teacher just left, a group of senior students with overwhelming energy and presence blocked the classroom door, the weakest being an 8-star student, and the alpha of the group, who was dressed in a white robe, was a very powerful and young individual. He was, in fact, a warrior. The white-robed youngster was Du Mingzi, the strongest student in Senior 5, the 15th strongest student in the whole South Star Academy, and also, at the same time, an avid admirer of, you guessed it, Lin Zian. Rumors of Ye Wei and Lin Zian's little venture has spread through every corner of South Star Academy about how they were together at Green Phoenix Hall and how they were linking arms and holding hands. This pack of Zian's fanatic admirers were provoked like piranhas that just picked up the scent of blood. They didn't even rest until they had found out everything related to Ye Wei's identity. And 3 days was more than enough time for the admirers to gather every gritty detail from people around the campus. I am here to see Ye Wei. Everyone else, leave. The group of senior students surrounded the white-robed youth like they were bodyguards. His ice-cold eyes emotionlessly scanned through the faces of everyone in Junior 3. He's Du Mingzi, the Du Mingzi who is ranked 15th on the South Star standings. Leave the room. Just get out. He is looking for Ye Wei? This time he is surely done for. How did he get into trouble with Du Mingzi? Mingzi is a warrior. And the Du family is one of the big 3. They basically run Green Moon City. Even if Ye Wei has the talent to become a rune master, talent is just talent before he actually becomes a rune master. He can't handle the Du family. Junior 3 students with bottomless respect looked at the youth in a white robe, and they started to sympathize with Ye Wei. They quieted down as the tension in the classroom built up. One by one, avoiding the middle of the room where Du Mingzi stood, the students almost held their breaths when exiting the room without making a sound. Ha ha ha, Ye Wei. Who will save you this time? Zhao Qi appeared to be calm and collected, but he was bursting out in laughter inside. Since Ye Wei displayed his potentials of becoming a rune master and turned his image upside down, Zhao Qi, even being the top student of Junior 3, had no leverage to mess with Ye Wei. During these few days, Zhao Qi had been frustrated and felt an extreme level of unease. Seeing Du Mingzi here, looking for trouble with Ye Wei, soothed his need for revenge. But Ye Wei had not attended any classes for 3 days. Is that lucky Gu going to get away with it? Zhao Qi looked at the empty chair Ye Wei usually sat in, shaking his head in regret. Ye Wei must be in his dorm room. Zhao Qi's eyeballs spun around slowly, and he made a guess. While a student is purifying primal energy, it's a written rule in South Star Academy that student shall not be disturbed by anyone under any circumstances. Not other students, not even any staff members. This is one of the main reasons Zhao Qi assumed Ye Wei was training in his dorm room. Moments after the class evacuated, Zhao Qi was left alone, being the only junior in Junior 3 that was left in the classroom. Aha, so you're Ye Wei. The white-robed Du Mingzi's facial expression resembles a restless, untamed Mustang. As he posed the question in a chilling tone, his dark eyes looked like a merciless predator's. No. Mingzi, brother, I am Zhao Qi, son of the Senior 5 tutor Zhao Hanji. I stayed here waiting to tell you that he hasn't shown up for lectures. I think he's hiding in his dorm room, and I know where that is. Facing the ice-cold Du Mingzi, Zhao Qi brown-nosed without hesitation. Tutor Zhao's son? Du Mingzi softened a little as he heard the familiar name. After all, Du Mingzi is a proud understudy of Senior 5's tutor Zhao. So, when Miss Ziyan was substituting for our class, not only did that bastard Ye Wei sleep through half of her lecture, he screamed and shouted when he woke up. He angered Miss Ziyan, and towards the end of the lecture, he criticized Miss Ziyan's stance, saying it was flawed and embarrassing her in front of the whole class. I never liked that kid. If he didn't show the potential to be a rune master... Zhao Qi walked close to Du Mingzi as he trash-talked and made Ye Wei sound as bad as possible. He stopped the moment he realized he shouldn't say anything about Ye Wei's shocking display and potential. It's common knowledge the Du family was one of the big three in Green Moon City. What Zhao Qi didn't know, however, was whether or not the Du family had a willingness to provoke potential rune masters. It would be against Zhao Qi's interest if Mingzi refused to mess with Ye Wei because of the Du family wanting to befriend an upcoming rune master. Zhao Qi realized he said too much, and now he was looking for ways to explain himself. Little Zhao Qi, I don't like people who are indirect, and I also dislike hearing half a sentence. Du Mingzi looked at Zhao Qi. His thick sword-shaped eyebrows were dark as black ink. They tilted up, slightly showing Zhao Qi he was not pleased with the partial truth he was told. The presence only a warrior could exude pressed down on Zhao Qi like a force field. Zhao Qi was finding it hard to breathe against the mountain-like presence of Du Mingzi. He actually got knocked off balance and had to take a few steps back before he could regain his balance and stand up straight. His body covered with cold sweat, Zhao Qi casted his eyes on Mingzi with utmost respect. Mingzi, brother! Ye Wei acquired knowledge about runes from God knows where, and answered a few questions in Miss Ziyan's lecture correctly, which made her think he had the talent to become a rune master. Then Miss Ziyan took him away from the classroom after the lecture. That's all I know. Also, if you want to get to Ye Wei's dorm room, I can show you the way there, Zhao Qi said carefully, and tried to avoid eye contact with Du Mingzi. It's school break now, and nobody will be guarding the residence halls, Zhao Qi added. Lead the way. Du Mingzi was satisfied from what he heard for the time being. He nodded and walked up next to Zhao Qi, patting his shoulders. If anyone is looking for trouble with you in South Star Academy, you can drop my name anytime you want. Du Mingzi expressed his appreciation toward the helpfulness of the tutor Zhao's son. Thank you. Zhao Qi was flattered, and he nodded. Although both Zhao's parents were tutors at South Star, it's an inconvenience for tutors to interfere and take sides in disputes between students. Not only is Du Mingzi a direct Du descendant, he is also a warrior and the 15th strongest person on the South Star rankings. There was no better patron than Du Mingzi. While having these thoughts and being proud of his new connection, Zhao Qi led Mingzi and his gang to Ye Wei's room. Here we are. Zhao Qi pointed at a shut door after they entered the building and said excitedly. Du Mingzi didn't say a word. He just nodded. With his eyes, he signaled the gang of senior students to break and enter. The act was prohibited in South Star Academy, but the residence halls were not staffed today due to the break. Bang! A tall and sturdily built 8-star student stepped forwards toward Ye Wei's room. He punched the door ferociously with his enormous fist. Boom! The door split open with a muffled rumble. There was nobody inside, and there was nothing in the tight space except a wooden bed and a simple wooden table. He's not here? Zhao Qi was dumbfounded by the fact that Ye Wei was not in his room. Break them, Du Mingzi said furiously. He stared at the empty room with a gloomy face. Yeah. Without hesitation, the gang of seniors initiated the destructive act. There wasn't much to wreck in the room, and it only took them seconds to turn everything into ruins. Despite this, Du Mingzi was still not satisfied by the poor state of Ye Wei's room, and he commanded everyone to piss on Ye Wei's beddings before he led them out of the room. Alright guys, that's the end of chapter 13. I'll see you again tomorrow. Man, Ye Wei is only a 2-star student. He's already making enemies with a warrior, 15th strongest in the whole school. he's a direct descendant from one of the big three families. On top of that, he has Zhao Qi, who's a 5-star student. Poor guy just keeps making enemies no matter what he does. So, guys, this is going to develop into a humongous scene, and you're going to love it. So, I'll see you tomorrow, and we will read on.